I mean, what path is better for Toronto, given the fact that they don't need to go total, full tear down? They don't need to.
A lot of buzz out there about the Raptors and which direction they're going to go. We don't want to close the door completely, but they're 2-8 in their last 10. And to the answer of, they were 500 at the time when we spoke, which direction is this going to go? At least recently, it is going the wrong way. And you thought maybe they should be having different goals for this year than they maybe walked into the season with?
Get the dynamite ready. They're 13-18. They're only 2.5 games back from a bottom 4 record. The offense looks totally disconnected. The team looks broken. There's no trade for them to make that can bring them to contention. They were flirting with Kevin Durant over the offseason. Kevin Durant is not available. When I tweeted the other day about them potentially blowing it up, Raptors fans say all we need is a Shai Gilgeous-Alexander trade. SGA is not being dealt. Who else? Tell me the other player that the Raptors could trade picks and young players for to get that thrust them into contention. Who is it? There's nobody on the horizon.
Look, I would argue that this is a team, and these are the decisions you have to make if you are running the team. Why are we bad? Okay. Obviously, one of our best players, Fred VanVleet, is shooting under 40%. And you can go through player by player. But I would say, because you and I talked about this a lot last year, the Raptors were not very good. And then what happened? They started playing 7 guys, 8 guys a night. They cut down. Everybody's playing 40-something minutes a game. And they end up winning a bunch of games down the stretch. And then they end up in the playoffs again, right? Not a team that had some kind of high ceiling, but they won a lot of games because they were playing a bunch of guys and they didn't have enough depth. Well, now you look this season, they've played 31 games so far this season. Precious Achiuwa has missed 12, or has only played 12, I'm sorry, so he's missed 19. Otto Porter, who was a get in the offseason to add to that depth.
Oh, so now Otto Porter's a difference maker.
No, I'm just saying he's played 8 games. He's played 8 games. Siakam's played 21.
Long-time listeners of the Mismatch know the Otto Porter throwback.
I mean, look at their roster, Kev. Otto Porter's better than what they run out there.
Yeah.
You got Precious.
Otto Porter's not turning this team into a championship contender. That's all Masai Ujiri
has
ever cared about.
A championship. It's Precious, Otto, Siakam. You've got VanVleet and Trent, who both played 25 out of 31 games.
Yeah, but what's on the other side? For Toronto, they don't necessarily need to go full on. We're going to be bad for 5 years. Blow it up. They can trade one guy or 2 guys and just be a little bit worse. But
how is that blowing it up?
I mean, it is blowing up.
How is making a trade blowing it up?
If you trade Pascal Siakam and OG Anunoby,
if you trade them for good players.
No, if you trade them for future assets, I believe in same Zach Lowe thing you referenced, and he said it could approach Donovan Mitchell levels if they were to trade OG Anunoby, and that's true. Everybody wants OG. Everybody loves OG because OG can fit anywhere. The same thing with Pascal Siakam, which is the challenge in even suggesting that Toronto should blow it up because they have guys that everybody wants, including Toronto. Those are good players, man. It's just for them. They're in a position right now, Chris. VanVleet and Trent can be free agents in 2023. They have options for 2024. Siakam and OG will be free agents in 2024. It's about how do you want to build this team moving forward with Scotty Barnes as your young guy? Is the path with being a little bit worse this year and having a better opportunity at a Victor Wembanyama or a Scoot Henderson or an Amen Thompson or whoever it might be? This is a great draft. Is that better? Or is it better to maintain all of your current core, including VanVleet, and compete for a play-in spot and then probably get roasted in the first round at best? I mean, what path is better for Toronto, given the fact that they don't need to go total, full tear down? They don't need to.
Who would you look at and you would say, okay, you want to retool or whatever. These are my guys.
Scotty Barnes and everybody else is available.
By the way, for longtime listeners out there, they could go back to the beginning of this.
Don't even say in 2017.
Every week I fought
you know what I said?
about the Raptors.
Yeah,
every week.
And you know what they did? I said they should break up DeMar DeRozan and Kyle Lowry.
You said they should blow it up. If this team didn't go anywhere,
if
they ended up getting Kawhi.
Yes, and guess what happened? That was a perfect storm.
They won the title.
Yeah, that was a perfect storm. Tell me the next injured superstar that's available with a weird injury on an expiring contract
we never know.
Cheap from a franchise that doesn't want long-term assets.
The point is we never know.
You don't. You're right. But that is such a rare occurrence that happened with Kawhi Leonard. It is such a rare thing.
You know what's even more rare? Trying to be kind of bad and getting a number one pick.
Yeah, having an opportunity to get a Victor Wembanyama. It's not even like people can say 14% chance at Victor Wembanyama. Yes, only 14% chance at best. But if you have a chance at Wembanyama or Scoot Henderson or Amen Thompson or one of the many other top draft prospects this year for Toronto to build with Scotty Barnes for the next 8 to 10 years, to me, that's just a more appealing path. It's nothing against OG or Siakam or Van Vliet or these guys that have helped, win games for Toronto for years. It's just about what's the best path moving forward. And to me, this is a team that's in a position where they're not here yet. It's not quite obvious yet, but they're approaching that point that they were with DeMar DeRozan and Kyle Lowry, where it's stagnant, where they're stuck in the middle, and they don't have a path to getting better because this team's about to get very, very, very expensive once those OG and Siakam extensions come up again. Van Vliet extensions as well. You'll be stuck. So that's the issue that I'm.
You don't think they can trade those
soon.
guys and get better?
Yeah, right now.
Yeah, no, they can't. But they could actually trade them and get better. That's what I would say.
Yeah, maybe, but for who? That's what I'm saying. So KD's not available. SGA's not available. Who? Karl Anthony Towns from Minnesota? Like, be serious. I just don't know who the guy is that is on the horizon for them to trade for right now. Damian Lillard's not going to become available. Like, who is it?
Well, what
like,
you might.
I look.
It doesn't have to be an individual player. Sometimes it can be a collection of. I mean,
I just don't see.
Pretty clearly, we have seen teams in the past move from the middle. In fact,
maybe Embiid gets unhappy in Philly in a couple years. I don't
think it always has to be a superstar necessarily. I think that we have seen a lot of teams that have moved from the middle to the next level. In fact, that's traditionally what has happened. These teams that are winning, maybe they're right at 500 or a little under 500.
Yeah, but the thing is, Chris, is most of those teams,
they build from there.
Most of the time, those acquisitions, like the Kawhi DeMar trade, can we acknowledge that was a very unique circumstance? That they get Kawhi Leonard for DeMar DeRozan. Most teams across the league were offering picks, young players like Jaylen Brown picks. Like, that's the type of concepts most teams were discussing: unproven players and picks. That's the way most star trades happen. That's the way most teams that go from the middle to contention make deals. They trade picks. So yes, maybe they could trade Siakam and picks, but the receiving team would probably prefer the picks and young player based package if they're going to make that type of deal. Like, that's just historically the way it tends to happen.
Well, and I would look at, say, like Scotty Barnes and say, all right, if I'm going to commit to this, then what is my best case scenario?
Should they have moved him for Kevin Durant?
Building around him.
To your point, Chris, should they have traded Barnes and picks for Kevin Durant last summer?
I mean, nobody wanted to do that, right?
Well, I mean, the Nets would have considered if it were Scotty Barnes. The Raptors didn't want to trade Barnes.
Yeah.
But would you have done that?
I'm not out on him.
Considering what we're talking about, like, I'm saying that they should move away from the Siakam, OG, Van Vliet, very expensive future and gamble on this great draft and Scotty Barnes and retool for the next 5 to 10 years. Like, building.
Yeah, and that's just where it's fundamental. We always break away on this. I know, but what I'm asking being terrible.
What I'm asking you, they don't have to be terrible. They still have a lot of talent on their team. What I'm asking you is, like, you're saying they should keep with the Siakam, OG, Van Vliet.
I didn't say that.
Okay, no.
I didn't say that. I said you don't trade it for Flotsam. You trade it to improve yourself.
Yeah, but you're not getting.
And
like Zach Lowe just said, that OG deal would approach Donovan Mitchell levels, and that's true. A Siakam trade would approach Donovan Mitchell levels. Like if they were to make those moves, they're not getting nothing in return. So like, don't frame it like that.
No, I'm talking about draft picks, and so what the Mitchell return was. They got Markkanen. They got
it might be some young players back in return. Like it's impossible to know what the pieces would be.
They got the draft pick from Kansas, and they got some draft picks, right? Yeah. I mean,
and of course they would have to get salary back. That's even more challenging mid-season.
Yeah.